It all started when Layla forgot her sketchbook at the museum. She had visited earlier that day with her class and drawn every dinosaur she could see. Her favorite was a giant T-Rex in the main hall. That night, she begged her mom to take her back before the museum closed. The security guard looked surprised, but let them in for just a minute. 5 minutes only, he said, yawning. Layla ran straight to the dinosaur hall. Her sketchbook was right where she left it under the bench. She picked it up with a smile. But then, something strange happened. The lights flickered. A deep thud echoed through the hall. Then another, and another. Layla turned around slowly. The T-Rex had moved. His head was facing her now. His eyes glowed softly. And then he blinked. Layla gasped, but the T-Rex didn't move again. She thought she imagined it, until the night statue in the history room coughed. Layla froze. The museum had gone silent. And then it whispered. Paintings shuffled in their frames. A mummy yawned from its case. A pirate skeleton stretched his bony arms. The museum was waking up. Layla took a shaky breath. Maybe this place wasn't so boring after all. Then she heard a loud crash. Startled, she turned around and saw the T-Rex taking one giant step down from his platform. "Whoa!" she whispered. He looked at her, and instead of roaring, he said, "You came back." Layla nearly fainted. "You talk?" she asked. "Only at night," he replied, his voice deep and echoing. "This museum comes to life after sunset," said a statue of a Roman emperor as he climbed off his pedestal. "The moonlight is our magic," added a ballerina figure from the art wing, spinning gracefully. "But tonight, we have a problem," the T-Rex rumbled. "The stars are fading," said the ancient globe near the library. "If the stars vanish from our ceiling, we'll go back to sleep forever." Layla looked up. The stars painted on the museum ceiling were dimming. "How do we fix it?" she asked. "The star key," said a whispering sphinx. "It's hidden somewhere in the museum, but only a child with imagination can find it." Layla didn't hesitate. She grabbed a flashlight in her sketchbook and said, "Let's find it." The exhibits cheered softly. The T-Rex led the way through the dark hallways. They passed a hall of mirrors, where reflections tried to trick them. They crossed the model train room, where tiny engines zoomed around like guards. They sneaked past the sleepy dragons in the fantasy exhibit. Layla used clues hidden in paintings and codes from the science room. She even had to raise a mummy in the Egyptian hall. Finally, in the quietest corner of the museum, she found a dusty telescope pointing at a fake star. Inside, hidden in the lens, was a glowing silver key. Layla held it up high. The stars on the ceiling lit up one by one like fireflies in the dark. The museum sighed in relief. "You saved us," said the T-Rex with a proud nod. The ballerina twirled. The pirate bowed. The mummy winked. "You're part of our story now," whispered the Sphinx. Suddenly, everything started to fade. The lights dimmed. The exhibits froze. Layla found herself standing in silence. Her mom called from the entrance, "Got your sketchbook?" Layla looked down. It was glowing faintly. She smiled and whispered, "I'll come back someday." As they left, she glanced over her shoulder. The T-Rex was back on his platform, but this time, he was smiling. Layla woke up early the next day. She couldn't stop thinking about her adventure last night. As soon as breakfast was over, she raced to get her sketchbook. Layla opened it, but it was blank. She frowned. Did she imagine the whole thing? Hadn't those exhibits been real? The moon was full that night, bigger and brighter than any other day. Layla knew she had to return to the museum. Maybe the exhibits needed her help again. As the clock tower chimed 5, Layla dashed out the door. She arrived at the museum just as the sun dipped below the horizon. The security guard looked at her with a tired smile. "Back so soon?" he asked. "Just going home, Layla," she said quickly, squeezing past him. "5 minutes only," he said with a yawn. Layla sprinted toward the dinosaur hall. This time, she raced ahead of the setting sun. Maybe if she could turn things on quickly, the exhibits wouldn't wake up. She reached the switch just as the sky turned dark. But before she could flip it, a hand clamped onto her shoulder. Layla screamed and turned around. It was a T-Rex. "You shouldn't be here," he rumbled. "It's too dangerous." "But I have to," Layla whispered urgently. "The moon, it's the only light in the sky. If the exhibits come alive, they might not stop." The T-Rex hesitated. "All right," he sighed. "Come with me." Layla followed him into the shadows. They hurried through the empty halls. The statues watched silently. The mummies seemed to peer at them with glowing eyes. Layla's heart pounded. She just wanted to get the lights turned on. In the control room, Layla flipped the switch. The lights flickered on and the exhibits froze. She had done it. She could save the museum and the exhibits from themselves. "Thank you," the T-Rex whispered, dipping his head. "You're welcome," she said, breathlessly. But suddenly, the lights flickered again. They were losing power. "What's happening?" she asked frantically. "The power drains during the night," explained the T-Rex. "We need a strong imagination to keep us running. But without moonlight, we're fading away." Layla felt a lump in her throat. Could she really save the museum? She walked into the central hall and looked up. The round moon was shining straight down, bathing the exhibits in silvery light. An idea sparked in her mind. She dashed to the control room and turned off the big overhead light. Then she raced back to the main hall, pulled her chair under the window and sat down. She closed her eyes, imagining the moonbeams as starlight. Suddenly, the dinosaurs roared. To life, the pharaohs stomped from their cases. The dragons flapped their wings. The exhibits were powered by the moonlight. Layla beamed. For a while, she played with the exhibits, pretending to fight off ferocious dinosaurs with a plastic sword. She raced pharaohs on her scooter and flew dragons through the air on a rope swing. Soon, though, the moon started to set. The exhibits began to slow down. "What are we gonna do?" Layla asked worriedly. "Without moonlight, we'll fall asleep," the T-Rex sighed. "There has to be enough light somewhere," she said, searching the room. Her eyes landed on the planetarium next door. Inside, a small projector shone on the rounded ceiling, making it look like the night sky. "Maybe we can use that," she suggested. The T-Rex nodded. Together, they dashed into the planetarium. Layla turned on the machine. A soft blue light filled the room. It wasn't moonlight, but it was enough. The T-Rex and the other exhibits stirred. Layla watched as color returned to their faces, as energy sparked in their eyes. Just then, the door opened. "Sorry I'm late," a familiar voice said. Layla whipped around. It was a security guard. He was rubbing his tired eyes. "What are you doing here?" he asked, looking at the exhibits. Layla shrugged. "Just a little sleepover," she said with a smile. The security guard stared at her for a moment. Then he shook his head and chuckled. "You kids and your imaginations," he said, turning off the light. "Lights out," he said with a wink. "5 more minutes," Layla pleaded. "All right," he sighed. 5 more minutes.